Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something.
I wasn't expecting that either.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
I'll be home very soon, so we can chill. But can we quickly catch up?
Let's.
How are you?
Really wonderful. Better now that I'm talking with you, of course.
Oh, I feel the same.
Yeah, it's true.
But you do seem really happy in your life, and it's really inspiring.
How do you know?
Because of the way, I know I'm behind with the episodes for a while ago, but because of the way you sound in the chat, just joking and also the recent sessions, and even the way you said, I think the way you framed Teresa's last episode. Teresa's last episode. It's just I'm, as a person who's now devoted my life to IFS, I love seeing other people have these breaks. And it just, I don't know, it feels like you're in the dessert or something.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in the dessert.
It's cool.
Dessert phase.
And you're traveling when?
I am leaving in 2 weeks.
Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah. I'm a little anxious. It's a long time to be gone, and I have more goals this time, so I have a way to fail, unlike last time.
Oh yeah. What are your goals?
My goals are to stay moving and to visit as many cities as possible, which that part doesn't sound fun to me. I don't want to travel a bunch,
right?
But I do want to make sure that I've seen every little corner and compared different locations. So I'll be visiting schools.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. That's a good
something to do.
I had a friend who just decided she was gonna see the soups of the world, and just in all her travel just made a big point of soup. But schools, that'll give you a real window on it.
Right. That's what I wanted to see all along, was how the kids are doing. And that's the people I like, are people who work with kids or who like being around kids. So
yeah.
I applied for a bunch of jobs that I won't actually take.
Oh, you applied for jobs there?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're going to interviews?
Yeah. I've already done some.
How does that feel?
It feels a little dishonest.
Because you just want to go use it
I
as a
mean, yeah,
pretext.
pretty much. I mean, I'm sure that there's some circumstance in which I would do some work at a school, but they all want full-time, come be with us for years people.
Yeah, I don't know that doesn't seem so.
Yeah. Did you hang up on me again? Make me work for it. It's worth it. Charlotte, you're worth it. We both are. This is good for me. It's good for me.
Hi.
Hey.
I've just decided that a part of me that is very bad at tech is ascendant almost every time I talk to you.
It's strange to me considering your line of work and where you live that you have the worst like Zoomness of anyone.
I do have the worst Zoomness of anyone, but it also is this is the only it's only with you. So yeah.
It's the only it's only a problem with me?
Yeah. Like I know how to do this stuff. And I made podcasts myself for a while, and it's suddenly this.
Maybe you're really good at doing it professionally.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, when those parts are all getting everything done just right.
Yeah, and then I'm so looking forward to just relaxing that I'm in a part of me that's like, just having coffee with you and is annoyed that there's a phone in between us. Yeah,
me too.
I think that's right.
I'm honored. Thanks for letting me see this side of you.
It's really nice.
Motherfucker. So anyway, I like my room. I like my stuff. I like my whole house. My whole house is great. I can do anything good. Hello.
Okay, now I must be just pushing the limits of this. I think maybe I'll just call you back when I'm inside and I'm going to shift to my laptop. How's that? And I'll be inside in like 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
See ya. Now you don't hang up. Okay. Yeah. That's adds some suspense. It's thrilling. Anybody can just make a call and stay on. Anyway, what were we talking about? Me and my parts. Let's count them. There's a little nervousness, very minor. Feel towards. Fine, good. It's funny, nervousness, it goes in kind of collects places because you try to get rid of it. So it goes and hides in a certain part of the body, and then when you acknowledge it, it kind of gets to swim around. Who else? Feeling kind of grateful and happy. I don't know if that's a part. Who else? It's my calendar part. It seems to be quite relaxed. But it always just sleeps with one eye open. Because there's always more to come. How do I feel about going to Vietnam? Yeah, anxious. There's a feeling like I'll do it wrong, or maybe even that I don't deserve it. Like traveling is for people who have their shit together and they've earned it. Both. So let's turn towards that part. What do you want me to know? It just says you might do it wrong. You could do it wrong. Does that make sense? To me, it does. And I'm going to agree. I could do it wrong. There are better and worse ways to do it. We've come up with some plans. What do you think about the plans part that we've come up with? They don't feel very solid. Well, because they're not. But we have a plan. We got a plan to plan. What do you think about that plan? We got a plan to plan a lot of things that don't ever happen, so plan to plan complete. Says feel strong. Not really. Thursday. We'll get started on that Thursday. Or maybe a little today. What else do you need from me, Part? To help with your concerns? Nothing specific that I'm getting. And how about the don't deserve it thing? Part, do you mind if I go there? Anxious about going there? Because you know it's an exile. And Charlotte's going to call back. Okay, what do you do when you only have 45 seconds to meet with an exile? Well, you say, don't deserve it. I see you just barely. I sense you just barely. But I know you're there. I want to know you. I got space for you. And now you're on a post-it note. It says, don't check in on me. Just forget about me. And my you always fail to plan part says, don't worry, he'll forget about you. You'll go into the system where all my big plans go to die. No. We'll do it right. Don't deserve part. I'll revisit you. And you don't have to do anything. We don't have to make it anything that you don't want it to be. Do you want a gift? Feel like you don't deserve one. Do you want to give a gift? Feed the ducks? You like feeding the animals. You wish the crows would come by more. We're working on it. Bothered by the crows. Has that same feeling, doesn't it? Feel like you don't deserve the crows' attention. And then, if you can't get crows to like you, when the crows don't eat the peanuts, the squirrels do. Really want the crows. The hummingbirds were too easy. What's special about crows? Why do you want the crows? Because they're smart. Anybody can attract hummingbirds. You want the smart crows. Because that would feel more like you earned it, you deserve it. Yeah. I so get it. Anything I can do for you right now before I have to go? Buy peanuts. Okay. And double the cayenne pepper. Stupid squirrels. We'll get them. What if the crows don't come? We're going to buy so many peanuts that if the crows don't come, we can just blame the crows. Maybe we just have really picky crows. That's what we'll do. And we'll check in later, talk about some other stuff. It's a nice part. Five minutes New York City time. Welcome back.
Hello.
Hey.
So, yeah, maybe I'll actually even sort of get in touch with the part that wishes there was no tech.
Yeah. Yeah.
Partly by way of apologizing for my many tech snafus.
Yeah. It's all right. I get to be in my space. You know, when I prepare for calls, it's good for me no matter if someone calls or not.
Oh, yeah. Do you meditate in advance or?
Yeah, I prepare a lot.
How? How do you prepare?
I'm guessing you want the long version.
Yeah, I do.
All right. Well, depending on the time of day, if it's evening, I'll start working out about an hour and a half before my call. Then I'll have a shower. Then I will, somewhere along in that time, I will listen back to the previous call, which makes me sound really clever because I can connect all the dots.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's really nice. So workout, shower, and then I will usually do some breathing exercises or and meditation while I review some of my other notes, some of my more general notes, which I have created in what I call audio flashcards. So they're like my own voice speaking some of the phrases that I like to keep handy.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. And then then I'll just meditate and wait for the person to call.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's nice.
When you it does seem like magic when you like remember the last call really well. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, my only concern I do feel like I'm cheating. Like if you were to compare what I'm doing with, a therapist who's seeing 6 to 8 clients in a day, back to back to back for 55 minutes each or whatever.
Yeah. This is just obviously great. And there's some part of IFS that does feel like magic, not like deep, but even just like the just the fun of the thrill of it is like hypnosis or something. And I think having those things at the ready really helps that. It helps you get into that state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For the caller and the listeners. And I like that part.
Mm-hmm.
When you're like, and don't you actually have a, acrobat clown part or whatever? And the person's like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. Me too. Yep, just listen to our last call.
What anything that seemed worth revisiting?
I mean, I'm happy to review it with you or to share what I recall about it, but I don't know that there was anything specifically like left undone or anything.
Yeah, I mean, did something. Well, I'll tell you that the thing that I sort of want to explore is self itself. Today, I don't know if that's works, but I know I've
You'll
asked.
find out.
Yeah. I started using this focus calm device, which is like home neurofeedback, and I discovered that basically it tracks frontal activity, frontal lobe activity or whatever with sensors on your forehead, and like it's like a headband across your forehead. And there are three major states: activated, neutral, and relaxed. So whenever I start, I'm neutral, and neutral for me is just me. So it feels like me. And I would have told you that my neutral was actually relaxed. But when I discovered, after using this thing for a long time and getting lots of feedback from it, what relaxed is, to me, is like way more blissful than I thought being relaxed was.
Yeah.
Like it seems more like an exotic state, like sort of self. Like it was like really, like I asked a friend who more readily gets into a relaxed state, and I said, like, are people who have a really easy time getting calm and focused, are you often in like a euphoric state? And she didn't say she thought it was a euphoric state. For her, it is just relaxed. But evidently, I don't reach that state often enough to not be surprised by it. Like it feels like just very delicious and just, yeah. So much that I was like, the only sort of goal I have in life is like more of that in the world. Like I think it is a self.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's really interesting to see it on the on this device, because it turns blue when you're in it. And and now I'm starting to associate blue and certain haptics with that self-like state. But I was also really interested that it seems at least to have some kind of like neurological correlate.
Yeah. So you want to tell me how you get into that state?
Well,
Just walk me through it.
Yeah. So, well, I think before I started using this device, I would kind of just wait to stumble into it. Like it just felt more hit or miss, like, where is that again? Where is it in my brain? But I think what I would do is like broaden my peripheral vision and sort of try to imagine that I could be available to the whole 360 degrees, like with all my senses. Just this like very universal openness and tolerance and like nothing can, I'm ready for everything. And like this very, very embracing feeling. And more toward the back of my body, like more like I don't know, like maybe like a mother with just like a ton of children, you know, just huge arms, and you know, some kids like heads on her lap and some under her arms, and you know,
Right. So she has to have her attention in all directions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, right. Like one of them could definitely be scrambling out, but a very like all are welcome.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just somehow that word welcome is also, whenever you say like welcome to that part, it's just, it's very nice feeling belonging and welcome. And yeah. So that's how I was getting into it before, kind of conceptually. But when I do this device, and now when I've been doing meditations, it's a little more like a pretty like almost like relaxing of, you know, my like scalp and my jaw and my skull and my everything in my face, you know, just down to the soles of my feet. But I think that image that I just described is probably a little bit quicker. There's some games with the Focus Calm app, like you are supposed to toast a marshmallow with your mind at some point. And there's like a fire that you're kind of making the fire bigger and the marshmallow toastier. And that image sort of worked for me. It was like warmth, and just like, who doesn't have a good feeling about like a toasted marshmallow, you know?
Right. Yeah.
It's like fun to watch, and it sort of drips a little, sags a little bit. And you're like, that would be perfect for my s'more. And that is kind of, sort of slightly melting something. So that image has kind of worked for me. And there are other images that sort of work in the app, but yeah. So
and you want to spend more time in that state?
I mean, I want to spend my life in that state, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What stops you?
It's like some little neurosis will pop up. You know, like I just ran into sort of a colleague, and we had been in court watching this case, and I said, you know, don't you think this particular witness is kind of hard to understand because of this thing? And he just said, yeah, that's obvious. And there were a bunch of people around us, and I was like, just felt smacked. You know, I was like, oh, come on. Why can't you just like enjoy this point, you know, or just like.
All right. It felt dismissive.
Yeah. Yeah. And just like thwarted what I thought was like this kind of like love of life point to make that we're sharing in. And it just like instant buzzkill. And then I'll remember something that he said to me a different time, and just, and then that just gets stuck there.
Yes. Okay. So we could try going from that part to that expansive awareness state.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Also, my father's very sick. I think I mentioned to you. And so I've been spending a lot of time with him, and he is very peaceful about, his last weeks or months. And I sort of feel like I'm in this like amazing state around him of just here and not here. Like just his hair is very soft right now, and he just like seems very wise, like he almost already knows what it's like to die. And and it feels like a very self state where like life and death are both welcome.
Yeah, very welcoming.
What's that?
Very welcoming.
Very welcoming. But then, like I said before with this colleague, something will come up like some logistical thing that has to be done that my mother's worried about, say, and all these things come crashing back in like why is this person so paranoid? Why is everyone rushing around doing unimportant things? Why can't I just have my state, without having to like think a lot about the dishwasher or like about whatever, some like suddenly pressing thing that everyone has in mind,
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of the external pressures of stuff going on. And then there's that other feeling when the buzzkill, when someone says something to you and it kind of brings you down.
Yeah. And it sort of makes being in self seem kind of like irresponsible and silly and head in the clouds. And that, I have to mobilize some more practical parts, and they bring all these idiosyncrasies and antagonisms and complexities and neuroses. And then it's just like, why not? I should just, I don't want to be here. Like then self sort of, then some, I don't know, then self gets its own set of protectors or something comes around to be like, fuck all of you with your petty concerns,
Right. So this part thinks if it were to let self lead and if it didn't show up, that would be irresponsible.
Yeah.
How do you notice that part?
Like someone asks how I'm doing, and I want to say, I feel like there's this space between life and death, or all is welcome, or something like that. But I know that, I have just this much self-awareness to know, or awareness to know that that's not how people talk. So I know that I'm supposed to be talking about like estates and logistics and practical details. And then I'm just irritated that, I just irritable. Like some kind of irritability.
Yeah. Because it knows or thinks that if you respond from self, then that's going to be, people won't recognize that or appreciate it.
Too eccentric,
and this part imagines that a response from self would say, well, you see, there's space between life and death.
Yes, exactly.
When someone asks how you're doing.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
How are you doing? All is welcome.
All is welcome, right. Do you know how much space there is in an atom? That's where I live.
Yeah,
too eccentric, I think. is, and yeah, can't make myself understood, and very hassled by the need to make myself understood.
Right. Okay. Do you want to get to know that part a little?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel towards it now?
Maybe a little bit embarrassed, because it's the part of me that, wants to like, I'm thinking about the time with this colleague today, and I just I've only been at one day of this trial, and all these other people in the room have been there since the beginning. And I sort of felt like I'm just falling asleep in a field of poppies while everybody's just really on top of all these details. So of course, when I make a point, it's going to be obvious, because I'm just so out of it. So it's the part that wishes that she was there from the beginning and not getting distracted, and had just focused on career and money. Yeah.
This part's embarrassed by not being the program, and
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
And
how do you
so
feel? How do you feel towards that part?
I feel a little embarrassed of that part, because currently, right, you and I are self is the great state.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right. So I don't want to spend 20 minutes telling you how important it is that someone
It's true. Yeah. Well, there wouldn't be any IFS if we were just in self all the time. So
true.
I'd have to start a new podcast.
That's true. Yeah. So
that part's really welcome.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd really like to know how it shows up, how it dances with other parts or with self.
So today, I'm thinking of, for now, just calling that part a striver part. I don't know. It's where it comes to my family and the medical stuff, it's that part is I should be really on top of hospice and really on top of this and that service, for my parents, and really on top of and then where that one is concerned with career, it's I should have been in this court at this trial all these days, and I should why doesn't this person recognize me, and why doesn't this person remember me, and why is someone saying that my points about this are obvious, and I'm losing track of all these details, and I'm losing track of the most important thing in life.
Yeah. And how does it feel to you to hear this part sharing its experience?
Well, one thing that's kind of weird is I'm looking at the screen, the Zoom screen, and it has a kind of professional headshotty picture of me. That's my holding the place, right? And that's very not how self feels, It's very much trying to make an impression. And with hair, makeup, whatever. So I'm looking at her. So that's a actual embodiment of this part. And let's see. she seems nervous, like wary. And I think I feel some compassion for her,
Great. Yeah.
She's like trying to like hit her marks and like get the pose right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so maybe you could let her know how you're feeling, compassionate, and let her know that she can show up with you with her anxiety, with embarrassment, whatever else, however else she wants to show up, and that you can stay compassionate towards her.
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that.
And is she aware of you?
Yes. But I just feel like very far away from her and definitely not like connected to her.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Could let her know that. Let her know that your connection isn't very strong.
Right.
But that you're open. You can invite her closer. Take your own steps closer. See how she responds to that.
She's wary that like she'll be thrown off if I come closer. Like,
yeah.
Like
that was her original complaint, was that Self is irresponsible compared to her.
Yeah. Also, Self seems like maybe a little smothering. Like, I'm just sort of picturing her like she's like she's like 21 and in a band. This isn't actually true, but like, and it's like her mom's coming up to like wipe, beer off her chin or whatever, or like straighten out her hair while she's on stage, which just feels like, get off me. Like, I'm independent right now. I don't need mothering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Self would embarrass her.
Right.
Which I guess, yeah, you said before.
Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. And can you acknowledge that maybe there are parts of you that want to straighten her hair or whatever, but that with you here, with just Self here, that she can show up anyway, and that we're not going to try to change her.
Yeah, that's nice. Right. I can do that. Yeah, like she's getting that, like, while she's worried about this person in the front, this part that's in the front row about to come and like fix her hair on stage, that Self is actually like, the whole concert hall or something. Like, it's just all the music and the atmosphere, and that feels good to her.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about the one who wants to fix her hair. It's interesting because at first you were saying that this is the part that's on top of it all, that this is the part that has its makeup done. But now it's saying, fuck off, don't make me fix my hair and clean the beer off my chin.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if we're onto kind of the exile of that put together one. If there's two different parts here.
Well, so partly it's because I'm looking at this picture, and the picture, which really does I mean, I can remember the day this picture was taken, and there's like false eyelashes and professional hair and makeup, and it's a professional photo, and there were all these people around me and lighting and stuff. So all those people are not my parts. Those people are like contributing to making this driver look like she's all together.
Yeah.
But the mother is this whole separate one who's just like, honey, can't you just, wear a longer skirt or whatever? Like, who's just kind of wrecking the whole day because she's trying to be like, seem like a celebrity, and the mother's trying to like infantilize her.
Okay. Yeah. Well, can you acknowledge that you do have that part in you that maybe that's kind of like the school teacher part, the one that's kind of square.
Totally the square one. That's absolutely right. It's like, do you really have to do it like that?
Right. Right.
And yeah. And
you see how that part has been or is a threat to this part's independence. And
and I also see how this part, the striver part, is mixes up, like, I think we've talked about this before, like the real love of self and the slightly fussy. I think you used this expression in an earlier call. It was like very active love or something. Do you remember that? It's like some kind of like very forward, like I'm going to come up and hug you and mess with you and stuff for you, And
as opposed to a more humble kind of open, aware, welcoming love. It's inviting versus agenda. Let me do this for you, love.
Yes. And the striver part has trouble trusting the concern of that like fussy teachery part, because it feels controlling more than loving.
Yeah. Okay.
Even
just let this driver know that all makes sense to you, that that other part really well, that you've actually worked with that other part and you have tried to help her get a job in an office where she doesn't need to be managing everyone.
Yes, and the language arts facility, not just office. Yes. She's got a huge grant. She's doing great. I like that, but I also just want to dwell on this thing of active love. When you said it last time, I don't know if I took it in later or if I took it in the moment, but just as I feel like the relaxed state in my focus comm device or self state is pretty new to me, very new state, and it's kind of exotic, and I don't get there very often, but I'm getting there more. When you first said active love, I was like, I really feel like to that second, I had thought that's the only way that love looks.
It's when we were talking about the oranges.
Exactly. It's like the mother. Right. And this is me thinking about my own mother. Like, there's a lot of like, did you take your, like I saw my daughter on her way to school and I was like, you're not wearing your costume. It's Halloween. You're, what are you doing after school? Like all these things that are considered curiosity in quotation marks.
Yeah.
But
it feels overbearing.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I asked less. It's exactly the oranges thing. That was such a crazy breakthrough. Right. Because the idea was not to give the Olympian or whoever huge credit for getting the oranges.
Yeah, for doing all that fussing.
for doing all the fussing, because
Mhm.
then I'd be paying attention to the wrong person,
Mhm.
the wrong part, or, and not just having, that has actually opened up a lot in my real life with my daughter. And that's what we're talking about right now, which is like, yeah.
Earlier, you said that this type of part, this smothering energy, is kind of smothering, and I was just wanted to point back to at the beginning of the call. You talked about an open awareness mother who has lots of kids, and the image I had is that the kids are kind of smothering her, and she's totally fine with it.
Yeah.
And it's like
running over her, a little
she's
bit.
got all the space for them to take and give and be who they are. And she's not pinning any one of them down and telling them how they need to, or in any way trying to change them.
Yeah, that's right.
So how's the striver feeling now about you, about what
good,
self is, and
especially if if self is just embracing and not, or in a very wide way, like the air and the music and the sounds, as opposed to looking right at her and forming a lot of opinions,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And doesn't want anything. Self doesn't want anything. Yeah, I think that are
you feeling that way towards her now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how's she feel about being in that presence of that energy?
She's kind of like, all right, okay, like some kind of new age thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've got a lot I got to do, but if that's working for you and you're not going to get in the way, just kind of make supercharge the air with some joy.
Okay.
Then I can be there. I can do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so she's got to get done.
Yep.
And she's concerned if she doesn't do that, for one thing, that people won't recognize you.
I think she thinks that it's even maybe more than that. It's like, then you wouldn't be living at all. Like if you're asked to do a professional photo shoot, like who would say no?
Yeah. Right.
Like this.
And so her idea again is that self would say no to the photo shoot.
Yeah.
Self wouldn't know how to respond to someone when they say, "Hey, how are you?" Other than saying life and death, we're all one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And would be like so humble and modest that it would be like,
right.
Oh no, I don't need a photo shoot. I'm like,
right.
And would be just like nothingness or something, as opposed to.
I wonder if you can just invite her to notice more about you now. Not the spacey spiritual bypass one. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what came to my mind when I thought about those answers. It's kind of like, I don't do a photo shoot because I'm floating on clouds.
Right. Exactly.
But like you were saying, this self is welcoming of everything. Is confident. Is creative, so doesn't have to just say no to anything.
Yeah.
And is present.
She feels really loved. It's interesting because in the past when people have like, so she's very sensitive. This is this driver. She's very sensitive to people like trying to clip her wings.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
yeah, she sees this as a win-lose.
Exactly.
She's going to give up. She feels like she's going to give up her what's important to her.
Yeah.
And some part with a smile on is going to flush those things that matter to her down the drain. And
yeah. Mm-hmm. Like some guy is going to say, you know what? I love you for you. So why don't you quit your job and never wear makeup again and just, you know, like you're just, this is all like vanity. And if, you know, if you were like really like you're just arrogant, striving, like, you know, and it's only because I love you that I'm saying this. Like, so, right. And
agenda love.
Agenda love, exactly. Mm-hmm. And so she's like on edge about that, but now, but she is getting used to, from our last session, the idea of like the self-love, which is, I think also talked about, sorry.
Go ahead.
Like we've talked about concern trolling. And I think that is another, like, that's what Joe, the angry part, you know, he doesn't like being told like, oh, tell me about your shame, you know, because it's just like, you're just trying to make me let my guard down.
Right.
And then give up everything important to me. And I think I've worried that IFS might do that. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to like just be a world of like crying inner children, you know? And so she needs to like, this one in particular, this driver one is almost as like suspicious of people as Joe. Like suspicious that someone's going to be like, they're really just like, someone's just trying to like knock her down. So, but they're pretending that it's for her own good. And that's the agenda love. Like they're just trying to turn her into a child. When she's like really trying hard to like show up as an adult in the world.
Do you see what that's really like for her? And maybe even where that came from? Does she feel like you understand?
I don't think we're there yet. She's pretty brittle. She's pretty like, unwilling to be vulnerable at all.
Okay. She doesn't have to. I'm still not trying to change her.
Yeah.
It's not my goal.
Yeah.
And I bet if we learned about each of the things she cares about, it would be pretty obvious that they're worth caring about. I mean,
yeah.
Even a photo shoot. It's like, did that matter? Yeah, it mattered. Right? Yeah, it mattered to your career, and it mattered.
It was also super fun, you know, like,
yeah. There's nothing wrong with a photo shoot. There's nothing wrong with fake eyelashes.
Right. Yeah.
I wonder if you could invite her, or you could ask her what she'd like to be doing, how she'd like to be spending her energy if she wasn't fighting, if she didn't feel like someone was trying to clip her wings, maybe even if she had self on her side.
So she really loves, like, she really loves these collegial relationships and like just talking about interesting things with interesting people.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about ideas, not like
Yeah.
things in the world,
Yeah.
the history of Vietnam or whatever.
And one of the things that she fears about those conversations is when someone thwarts her, dismisses her, the comments.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I wonder if that's a way that you could help her. You could just ask if you could go to those parts that get hurt by someone's dismissive comment.
Yeah.
And you could give them some of that love so that they didn't feel so hurt or unrecognized or dismissed. If that would help this striving part enjoy her explorations and conversations more.
Yeah, I'm seeing sort of two versions of antagonists to her. And I don't know if they're worries about other parts of mine or worries about kind of people she's encountered. But the first one we just talked about is the one trying to be like fussing and actively loving and whatever. Mm-hmm. But the second, so actually another form that first one takes is like a kind of don't worry your pretty little head about this style. Like, why are you even talking about this? Like, it maybe me when I was younger, like, I think we're really, I think I'm on a date and we're talking about the history of Vietnam. And then the guy thinks like, this can't be real. I must actually be trying to flirt or something, Yeah.
How old is that part? That didn't feel welcome in the conversation.
14 is what.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe younger, like sometimes, like at my parents' dinner table, maybe trying to participate in the conversation, a conversation about like Reagan or whatever. And then just people acting like I'm just like performing or trying to act like a prodigy or something, and be like little Shirley Temple of ideas. So, you know what I mean? Like just trying to get attention. And
how would it feel to you and to this striving part for us to go there now? For you to go there now to one of these younger parts?
Yeah, that's good. I think we could. I think we can do that. Everyone's.
You want to check in with any other objections? Any other parts have concerns about that?
No, everyone's pretty cleared out.
And we're going there with compassion and curiosity?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah. See if you can notice the young one who doesn't feel invited to the conversation, feels like people see her as just performing or...
Yeah.
No. Mm-hmm. How do you feel towards her?
Just lots of love and compassion.
What do you notice about her?
So she's 8 and she is this is drawn from life, but I probably, because we were talking about a photo shoot, I was in like when I was a kid, and it's when I was 8, and I was surrounded by all these guys with camera people, sound, whatever, director, and sitting on this bed, and I had to wear these huge fluffy slippers. And someone learned that my middle name started with P. And so they were all guessing what my middle name was and guessing different P names and like Penelope and all these things. And I was like saying like, no, that's not it. And I guess it was kind of flirty. I mean, I was so young, but, and they were like college age, but, anyway, finally they guessed Paula. And I said, oh, I wouldn't be shy about it if it was Paula. That's a great name. And somehow they thought that meant that I had a crush on this guy named Paul. And one of like the cameramen who was like down near my feet said like, that's because you have a crush on Paul, I guess, who was, I don't know what he was, one of the other people. And he was down by my feet that were hanging off my bed in these pink slippers. And I just was like so ashamed and horrified that I kicked him in the ribs, but like kind of hard. Like I actually remember swinging my leg back and just kicking him. And he was pissed. Like he just turned like really angry at me all of a sudden. And I guess it had been like, it just was probably the most like adult person in the world getting mad at me for like,
okay. Yeah. So can you just get her attention and show her that you're here and that you're with her in that scene? That you can be, that you want to invite that and know how that was for her. Just welcome her feelings.
Mm-hmm. She's just completely dysregulated. Like I've definitely thought about this moment before.
Yeah.
But
it sounds like there's a thinking part that knows this story well.
Definitely knows the story well, because it's a story I've like tried to parse in my mind before.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever told anyone about it because it's just something that like sometimes my mind goes to.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I can definitely be there with her without the story.
Okay.
Except all there is just chaos. It was like her head blew up as soon as the sky was mad.
Are you okay with her being in that, sharing how that was for her with you? And just all the feelings that came along with that?
Yeah.
Take your time.
Yeah. I'm definitely okay with it. I'm having to wait till some misgivings about, or some, I don't know, some sense that that everyone in the room who are like these older people that had like a movie to make and stuff to get done, that their opinions aren't crowding out mine of what happened.
Well, yeah, so they're striving, huh?
Yeah.
And this striving makes her feelings not as important.
Definitely.
Yeah, just let her know you see that.
Okay.
How all the striving parts made her feelings, she had to put them away or couldn't share them, or they weren't important.
Yeah. And also she has to like get her shit together for the next take. And she's like
Yeah.
pounding, her temples are like pounding, and she's so embarrassed. And also now the fact that everyone was teasing her is second to the fact that she hurt the guy by kicking him. So she's just like,
It's chaos.
it's just chaos. It's like, and there's no time to feel it.
What about right now? Does she feel like you have time for her?
Yeah.
Yeah. And does she feel like you're understanding those feelings?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He likes, I've sort of like managed to like freeze all the other people.
Yes.
So, in the scene. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And they're just like not there. Like that guy, I think his name was Tony, is like, he's not mad anymore. Everyone's just,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
she's like able to flop back on the bed and just think about it or be with or feel it.
With you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to imagine that she doesn't bear a lot of guilt for kicking that guy.
You can ask her about that. Ask her about the guilt that she has.
She's got tons of guilt.
Is it okay with you that she has that? And is that something that you're willing to welcome with her as part of her and help her with?
I mean, I wasn't when you started that question. I was like impatient and just wanted to be like the guilt to just vanish, like, oh, come on, you were a kid. But no, of course, yeah.
Makes sense to you. Makes sense to you that she would feel guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her foot actually kind of hurts from how hard she kicked him. It's like the slippers were really fluffy, so it sort of, and silly. They were pink. So it sort of seemed trivial, but like, or like it was just going to be nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But so it was a mistake, but it also was like, yeah, she feels guilty about it, but she also is just like, if only I could explain, like there's so much explanation for this.
How would it feel to either and invite her out of there somewhere where she can just be with you and let her explain, let her talk to you about everything that's going on, and maybe also, we can help those messages get to the right people. But would it help her to kind of come out of that place?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
She can give you the whole story. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She like, yeah, she does want a chance to describe the whole game with the guest middle name, and also point out who the director was and who this grip or gaffer or whatever was, and then what everyone was doing and what their dynamics were among them. And also like some weird idea that you were supposed to be embarrassed of your middle name and make people guess it and being coy about it, and like she had all kinds of like fun ideas.
So much.
You know?
So much going on.
So much going on, right? And also it's somewhat interesting because she really did mean for that to be like a playful, like if he'd been sitting up, she would have like just nudged him on the shoulder or something. But because of the way that her knee pendulumed, you know, and he was like right at her feet, she just kicked him so hard. But some part of her is like, oh my God, he was like a 20-year-old jockey guy. Like he could have been like, he could have kept the game going and not been so mad, you know?
Does she feel like you really get it? You really understand all that was going on there for her?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems like she has like, she's split, but she has some like adult perceptions she wants to share about all the psychology in the room. And then she also, you know?
Yeah, she wants to have the grown-up conversation that's interesting and fun.
Exactly.
And explore it all.
Right.
And you're there to do that with her.
Yeah.
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 How about offering, and I don't know how long that might take or how, I mean, you might do that for the rest of your life with this part, which is great. How about, do you want to offer her any redoing, any going back in that scene and sending that apology or undoing something or changing anything about it, or just being there for her? Just being there for her in that time.
You know what's coming up is like, and one thing that's true in life is that there were a bunch of other child actors in this movie and they loved doing it. And I'm not at all being self-deprecating. I was terrible at acting, just terrible. Like the movies, just like anytime I just didn't like doing it. I didn't like being on camera. And this part also is just making very clear that like she wanted to be just like mixing it up with some of the like guys on the crew.
Mm-hmm.
And she did not want to be in the movie, like the object of attention in that way.
Yeah. So she liked the project, but she didn't want to be the performer.
Right. Exactly. Or like, and especially particularly in this flirty relationship that had like, and that seemed, she would way want to be like, what is this movie? And like, what are all these characters? And
well, maybe that's a way that, maybe that's something you can change about it with her is find her a different job there on the.
Yes. On the set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Because but no, this is really, really good. It's so funny too, because someone made me watch it a few years ago and I was like, this is preposterous. Like, I just like, no one has ever, the other kids that I worked with, it was like Peter Pan, basically. It's like a modern version of Peter Pan. And I was Wendy. So I supposedly had this big role. And because I just was so bad and I had to do so many takes, they basically like had to cut my part down and they make all the other parts were great. And the one that played Peter Pan is just like, he's just so clearly into it. And I remember being like, God, that kid, he's just so like, how does he do it? He just loves it. And he's so alive in the camera. And I just couldn't figure out how to do it. But so looking back, it just would be so much fun if she could have like, just talk to someone else about like the book Peter Pan or like done pretty much anything other than be on camera.
Right.
And that's such a funny thought because I think like my brother and other people around that time, like when the movie opened, kind of lumped me in as like an aspiring child star. And I was like, I can't win because I don't like doing this. But then the fact that I have done it makes it seem like I'm like, yeah, the striver part or something, or too showy or too something. Yeah, that's so funny how much I didn't like acting, and I always just kind of leave that out.
Yeah. So if she is kind of, if that part's done, then you can also kind of invite her again somewhere else if she'd rather be in a library with you or wherever with you.
Yeah.
You can set up a space that's special for her.
There's a big part that I don't want to leave out in the library thing, which is like that kick. Because
yeah, what needs to happen with that?
Well, in general, I feel like I've even said to you that I think of myself as like not violent or aggressive or prone to anger. But every time we look at like, you know, exiles, they surprise have like a lot of anger. And there are other times where I've like thrown a punch or kicked someone.
Yeah.
And
so she's got that guilt about the kick still.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, I can just literally feel like, I think at the time I even worried, or maybe the guy worried, that I had like broken his rib. Because like at the right angle, kicking someone at, you know, even though I was young, I don't know. It just...
Let her tell you.
Okay.
And stay focused on her and what she needs to resolve that in her or to unburden that.
Oof. I mean, she wants to be told, one, that I was completely justified, that he was being kind of an asshole, and like anyone would have done that. And two, that it was like still a fun, playful thing to do. It wasn't like mean or something. Or like, it wasn't like a spaz thing to do. Like, oh, you got carried. Like, you couldn't take a joke, you know, so you like hauled off and really hurt someone. Like, she wants to think that she was still cool. And then also, she wants to, the last thing is she wants to just know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the guy was fine. Like, no bruising, no, much less cracking.
Yeah. So that's what she's telling you. She's telling you, look, here's the justification.
Yeah.
And also I wanted to be playful, and I wanted it to be cool.
Yeah.
And then there's all the feelings that come along with that it didn't come out that way.
Right.
Yeah. And then there's her concern about how the guy's doing.
Yeah. And getting to tell me all that is really good. And that's, I guess, what's going on in the library.
Yeah.
But maybe I wasn't answering your question. Ask me the question again.
My question was, what needs to happen? I mean, how, and I think you are answering it. You're being with her and you're allowing her to express that stuff. At first you said she wants to be told, and I think that's rarely the solution in the end. Is let me tell an exile how she should feel, or what just magically reframe this for her.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure she's already experienced that from other parts. But instead, letting her tell you about her justifications, about her real feelings, about her concerns, and about her guilt, and all whatever other feelings come up around it, and just welcoming all of those. I don't have an answer for that.
Right.
Like what to do with all of that, I don't know. But you can take the time and just keep welcoming that and figure out what's next to do with all of that. But just let her know that you have space for it, that it does matter, and that you can put the show on pause while she works that out with you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I think there's like the one thing that self can't provide for her is like confidence that the guy was totally fine.
Well, that's good that self's not going to lie to her about what we know about the guy.
Right, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. So what do we do with that? You might not have an answer. Like, again, I don't have an answer. It might just be something to think about with her.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe she could be okay letting go of never really knowing.
Mm-hmm. With your help.
Right.
She would need to know that and she would need to know that you know that she cares. Things like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I trust if you're in this place with her, you can find a solution.
She also likes that I understand that like it was kind of at least uncool, maybe even unfair, that it was just like for so many days and so many takes, there were just like a room full of guys and cameras and equipment and mics and stuff around her at this age. And it was summer and it was hot. And
she didn't have anyone that she could go to and say, I don't really want to do this. I'd rather be talking about the arc of the story with someone smart.
Yes. We're just like reading freaking Peter Pan. And also that this like, and also just like goofing with her friends outside where I could literally hear people like playing on my block, and we had to pretend it was night. And also it was supposed to be winter, so I was like in hot pajamas and just heavy blanket. And I couldn't do any of that. And I also couldn't just play with them because I didn't know the rules of this kind of playing. And also they were so much older. And I was just so scared and intimidated. And I was like, couldn't get my lines right and couldn't figure it out. So she does like seeing that self knows that that's such a like boring, bad summer day,
Yeah.
You only have one summer that you're 8 years old, and
right. Right. And you can go back there and offer to make it the best summer.
Yeah, I think self And her would have been happier to like just be on big wheels or be on bikes or something outside, not even like talking about Peter Pan, but just more like going to the pond again, like the place that I feel like every exile of mine wants to just be in that pond.
So we're almost going to be at 2 hours soon.
Oh yes,
starting. It's fine. I trust that you can stay in touch with her and kind of continue each of these conversations. We kind of started a lot of little things with her. Okay. The one thing I was wanting to revisit, if it's all right, is just to check back in with the striver.
Yeah.
The one who says the show must go on, kind of. The one who needs to be on top of it all.
Yes.
Yeah. And just kind of show her what's going on here and invite her if she wants to revise her role. And maybe, she didn't know what self was capable of. She didn't trust self's
That's it. Yeah.
presence and love to do anything other than clip her wings or disempower her.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That is the act of, now I want to listen to that call again with the oranges, because that's exactly.
Was that a call or was that texting?
Oh.
I'm not sure that happened. Or I don't know that I have a recording of it. If it was a call, I don't remember.
I'll go up thread in our texts, because maybe it was there, the oranges. No, we talked about the oranges.
Okay. Anyway, the reason that we came to this 8-year-old, it was through the striver.
I know. And I think
you might just want to help her see that.
Yeah. That's I have some thoughts about that, and I think I can be with the striver in meditation. She may be a manager, protector. I mean, she's definitely somewhere in that slot, but I think maybe, I don't know.
I think she's kind of the definition of a manager.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was that exile that comes up when someone dismisses your point you make about, something, trying to join the conversation, and you can show the striver that you can be with this young part.
That's it.
When she's feeling thwarted and dismissed, and like she's not part of the conversation.
Yeah. The guy today that said that's obvious.
Right.
Yeah, that was definitely straight flashback to being upset and kicking that guy and having everyone be like, you suck, or feeling like that for that little exile. James, thank you.
Thank you.
We didn't even do our minute of meditation, but
I'll do a minute after we hang up if
okay, that's good. Me too. I will.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Any other questions, concerns? Anything at all?
All good. Thank you for the extra time, and just thank you.
My pleasure. Okay.
All right. Bye.
Have a good rest of your day. Bye. Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, We must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube, and they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.